All right, welcome back, Mathematical Jiu-Jitsu. Once again, working on basic hand fighting drills. So before I start playing and start talking, I want to highlight that if you have not done the last lesson on basic hand fighting drills and become proficient in them, then do not move on to this lesson. This lesson requires you to have worked on and understand the last one. Reason being that that was really the meat and potatoes of the drills, and these are, add-ons, if you will, to it. So now that I've said that, if you have not done it, well, good luck. So getting into it. This time we're going to start from the same place, which is the collar tie, but in this case, I have one of my opponent's wrists. So you can't see it well, but right about here, he has an overtie. He has his hand on my bicep, and he's pulling down on it. But I have his wrist, so he never got to complete getting his grip on my neck to pull it down. Notice our stance. Um, Truth be told, stance isn't going to be as important as far as which leg is forward, but I like to use which leg forward to tell me kind of where I'm going to go. And you're going to see a couple variations to better understand what I'm saying. But in this case, we're starting in a staggered stance. We call this a closed stance, where our chests are facing each other. So here we go. Yep, I'm going for that leg. I'm going to step right in. I have the collar tie. So I'm turning right into an arm drag first. So, oh, did you notice that there? Let's talk about this for a second. I am consistently telling my son to stop doing this. This is bad. Don't round your back like this, guys. If I was putting weight on, he'd be falling to the floor. Your back should be straight, and if you are having a difficult time with this, just lower your stance, lower your hips. Do not bend with your back, lower your stance. Okay, anyways, here we go. Arm drag, I pull in, I go for the leg, right? He steps back, I adjust back into club replace attack. Shout out Hudson Taylor once again for giving us these awesome drills that I have modified slightly. And all right, here we go again. Once again, I grab the arm drag, I go for the leg. I know he's going to take a step back, because if he didn't, I would single leg him or pull it up and take him down the trip, inside trip. Here we go again. Another stand or another angle. I have his wrist. I grab and pull for the leg, know he's going to step back, and I transfer directly into club replace attack. Very simple. All right, now I think my wife's like, where do you want me to go? So in this case, let's pick that apart a little bit more before we get into the variation. Oh, that's a bad angle for it, right here. Okay, so when I'm doing this, like I said, this one I like to start from this staggered stance, a closed stance here. I am reaching for his thigh. I am absolutely, or I'm sorry, I'm reaching for his tricep. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of grabbing really low in the arm, which I may even have done here, but that is absolutely a mistake. Yeah, that right there is too low. If you're going to do a successful arm drag, I want you to be picking this up higher. Typically, you end up grabbing closer to the elbow because it's easier and more accessible, because there's more space between here than there is between here and here. But if you really want to pull them, you need to have your arm at least halfway through between the elbow and the shoulder, not down here just above the elbow, because anyone will pull their arm back the moment they feel this, but the higher your grip goes, the more you impact the body via the shoulder. So now that I've said that, I'm pulling and stepping myself in to try to get behind him. This also can be turned into a couple different takedowns than what I just said. But when I pull him and I come in, I know he's going to take the step back, so I'm ready to transfer. My goal is still to step all the way through, because if I could get you on the very first attempt at that leg, then I'm going to do it. But this is a drill, right? But I want you to train to try to get all the way behind that leg, just like we're doing club replace attack. In that case, look, he reacted the moment I stepped in. Look at his legs slightly move. Yeah, he knew I was coming, right? And he reacted. My goal is to get my thigh behind his and wrap around that inside of his leg, or inside of his thigh from the outside. Okay, here we go. I have that wrist again. I'm pulling down the head. So I step in. Now, you know your arm drag doesn't work well if their legs aren't moving at all. When you pull that arm, it should shift their weight forward, because if you don't, then they're going to step. So in that case, he did not react like the last one I showed you, right? When I did this one, I told you he reacted right away. He knew it was coming, but also it's because I'm pulling him off balance. You want to make sure when you do that arm drag, if you want to be successful, or know that's successful, it should upset their balance. If their feet don't move, you did not do it well enough. And then right back into glove replace attack. Here we go again. This isn't meant to be an arm drag class, but the point is, if you're going to do it, let's do it right. Here we have the arm. I pull him. In that case, his legs didn't move, so yeah, I should have probably pulled him a little bit further. If their legs are planted and they're not off balance, remember, that means they could be offensive. So when we do these motions, if we're in motion and they're staying in planted, I'm the one that's off balance during the moment of my motion, right? He is planted, meaning that his balance is more settled. So he has an easier time launching attacks than I would because I'm in motion. All I have to say, make them get off balance. Don't be the only one moving. Make them move. Okay, here we go. Here, here. All right, and that's where we're stopping for this drill for now. But what happens when we have the other leg forward? So when I have this, and I like to obviously play with their balance. Let's look at that. Look at that rounding again. If I can do that to them, or if at any point in this they move their head, which sometimes they do it on purpose because they want to put their head right into the pocket between my ear on the side you can't see and the shoulder, and then they'll turn their body this way, which will then give them access to my leg. So sometimes they do it on purpose, but when I know that's coming, right, when I feel them want to put their leg forward and start turning their forehead into me, I'm going to then open up the motion and let them pass by me. So I'm going to just shuck them forward. Yep, just like that. And then switch to the arm drag. Same motion, same game. But in this case, their leg was forward, which means I expected them to drive into me to cut an angle like we're trying to do to them. But instead of fighting against it, just let them go, and in fact, speed them up, push them through it. I'm going to use my hand. I'm going to push them forward. Boom. Switch, switch. There it is. Now we're in the same drill. Look at that. Same drill. But the thing that's really going to tell you or indicate to you that this is coming isn't just the head placement. It's actually their hand, which you can't see it from this angle. So we'll talk about it here on the next angle. All right, so here we are. Once again, don't round your back, guys. I shuck him forward because he wanted to be there anyways. I go take that leg, push him right back in the club, replace attack. Okay, so this will be a good angle to point out. That move that I'm doing isn't going to work if they're not really pulling down with this arm. If they're over tie, meaning their hand on my bicep or forearm in here is not pulling down, then if I drop my arm, their arm's not going to follow. So I need to feel that arm. And typically when they're pressing forward with this into my neck to try to cut this angle, typically they're going to be pulling down anyways. But the key to this is right here. If I see this foot forward and I feel this arm being pulled down heavy, then that means I'm going for it. Again, coming off of the holding a single wrist. Here we go. So I shuck him forward. He wants that. I'm going to drop my arm when I do that. So shuck, drop, grab. There it is. Let's look at that one more time. Oh, shuck. So I'm going to push him forward that way and drop my arm immediately as I then reach for that arm drag. Here we go. There. There. And notice when I did that, how high up on his arm I am. See? Good. So, let's see, we got another angle of it. Yes, we do. All right, I want that leg forward. So in this case, his leg's forward. Again, when this happens, you have to be very, very careful because this means they're going to start cutting a corner on you and they're going to drive into you. And if they drive into you and they get that nice perpendicular angle, you're going to be in danger. So I feel that and I feel that that pressure on the pulling down on my bicep or my forearm, and I immediately roll with it. I'm gonna cut the corner on them faster than they want to do to me. So I'm gonna shuck them to the side, pull, pull. There it is. He steps right back to club replace attack like we did previously. So that's something that we can add on to the drill. And I recommend work this drill. All of them are going to come together. But let's look at the different ending. So we keep ending up in this position where we have their leg. But if you notice in the last drills, sometimes when your partner is off balance, they will post their hand on you. Let me point this out. So in this case, we're doing the first variation. We know that because of our stances. Look at that. I try to straighten my back. He did not, which means he's going to carry a lot more weight and do a lot more work than I will. So arm drag, he steps back. There. See this arm? This arm means I'm going to take your back. That's what that means. He's off balance. His arm is over his, or head's over his foot. So now what I'm going to do is weight's right there. Oh, yeah, there it is. The moment he takes that step back, one more time. The moment he takes that step back, I'm going to bring my arm right over the top. I'm not reaching for his shoulder on the far side. I'm actually just going to give him an underhook where I'm going to raise his elbow and my elbow to the sky and push his head through. That's all I'm doing with a nice back step because I don't want him to run his head into my knee. So I need to clear the space. So there it is. The only reason my right arm does this is because I'm going to pivot him around his elbow. My hand coming on top right there is to raise this and prevent him from moving this arm. When I push his head through with his arm in place, he is stuck to pivot around it, which will throw off his balance and give me his back. All the pushing is coming from this hand with a good back step. I'm just taking a nice circular step and opening this area while I shove his head down and through, just like we've been doing with these drills. That's it, right to his back. Let's look at it again. Which for those of you that wrestled, you're like, oh, there's a nice, place to pick up and do a suplex. Totally kidding. But yeah, you get a really good place. You have his back. His back's nice and exposed for you. This drill's the same. There it is. Look, the moment you feel this, which this is about, you got to do these drills, build a sensitivity. The moment I feel that overhook there, because he's off balance, I'm just going to come up to the top, raise my elbow, throw him right through. Take that step. Let's do it again. Again, doesn't matter what variation, because all these drills are interchangeable, all of them. So I came for that, shucked him around. He decided to put his arm up. So I'm going to take that big step right when he steps, throw him right through. That's it. Really easy, really simple drills. Oh, okay, one more. Let's do it again. Still, really simple, really easy drills. That all these, you're trying to keep him off balance to build on those reactions. So you see how I came over his arm that time? It's okay. Preferably is under both arms, but you don't always get a choice. So it's about getting his back, right? That's what I want. And usually I want to be a little bit lower. I want to be, like right around the hip line, slightly above. So let's look at it solo. So the first one, in this case, we're in that staggered closed stance, right? Yep, that's the exact feeding for him. All I'm doing is from that single wrist and that collar tie. That's it. That is the motion. I reach up and I go right into club replace attack. Let's look at it again. Here we go. So there's the arm drag, right? I came up, ideally middle of the arm or higher, pulling that single wrist while I do that. And then I change it right in to the back of the leg. He steps back, so I take it to club replace attack. That's it. Now we look at the second one. In this case, we're in like a mirrored stance, if you will. I have to be very conscious that he's going to try to cut an angle on me, and he's pulling hard on that bicep, so I'm just going to then let it go. Shuck him right off. He wants to drive and do it, great, and I'll step right in for that leg. He steps out, so then I'm going right back into club replace attack. And now to the grand finale, which is, in this case, you've done all the work, and he decides he's going to post his arm on me during club replace attack. So all I'm doing, in this case, this is on his neck, This is on his leg. He takes a step back. Remember, he's going to post his arm up here. So his arm's up there. So I'm going to come high with my elbow. That's it. Looks like I'm doing air bending, my wife said. Or setting up a Kamehameha for all my Dragon Ball Z fans. That's the motion. Just all of it together. And that's going to make his elbow go up to the sky. Your elbow goes to the sky, and he's going to flow right through. So we've done that. But what is the concept I want you all to take from this? And I've already kind of mentioned it without mentioning it, which is we need to keep them off balance. Constant motion. We want them always in motion, meaning I don't want them planted. I don't want them steady. I need to make sure when I do things like that, that when I do this arm drag, for instance, right, he has to move when I do it. Otherwise, he is not off balance. You cannot be offensive if you are off balance. You first have to then regain balance to become offensive. So I'm telling you that when we do these things, you need to make sure that they stay off balance when you do them. If you don't have them constantly moving to adjust gaining their balance back, then you're setting yourself up for their counterattack. So in everything that you do, see that it manipulates it, right? Look at that. That step I pointed out earlier, right? You saw him have to adjust. We want him to have to adjust because by having to adjust his feet means he's adjusting his balance. We got to that end state, right, with this throw by right here. Where we go? Oh, right. Yeah, right here. The only reason this throw by works is because he puts his arm there because he's off balance. See, by me, shoving his head over, he does this to try to regain it, and that's what gives us the ability to further manipulate his balance by bringing his head right back. But if I tried doing that motion without him being off balance, right, there wouldn't be much success because he's going to be stable, steady in his stance. So anytime you're doing these types of things with stand up, and it's not just stand up, like it's the principle applies on the ground too when you're working off your back, especially, right? You're trying to sweep somebody or whatever, you have to keep them off balance. If you manipulate their balance, they no longer become offensive, they're defensive. So you need to use that to your advantage, but you also need to guard your balance as a result. So that's it. Get out there, practice. Let me know if you have any questions.